right, good afternoon, everybody. Good evening to our brothers and sisters in Liberia. And if you are here in the States, we say good afternoon to you. Welcome to Liberia Shall Rise. I am your host, Augustine Sharif, and I'm here with my sister and good friend and my doctor, Dr. Quita Roberts. She's here with me. Dr. Roberts, how you doing today?
Hello, hello. Happy Sunday. How are you?
Hey man, happy Sunday. Today, I feel like I'm thawing out because the temperature is so good. We're in the 60s, so I'm super excited about today.
Yeah, I know your
Yeah, but
birthday
how
next
is life on your
week.
end?
Life is great. We got a little
Yes,
bit of warm weather here too, so the
awesome,
sun is out and it's a beautiful day.
awesome. So today, to our friends who are joining us, if you are joining us on Facebook or YouTube, or listening to us in Monrovia on Freedom FM 87.9, we say welcome to the broadcast. It's the fourth Sunday in February already, dog. I don't know if you
I
believe
can't
this.
believe it. But guess what? Next weekend is my birthday. You know how I do.
I know you like to do the whole month, so I'm not looking forward to.
Well, happy belated birthday. You just celebrated your birthday.
Yes, I just did. I just celebrated one, so we'll see what happens. I turned 21. Super
Look at
excited.
that.
Life is going. We're
Life is
moving.
great. Don't look a day over 21.
Well, just to get the show going, and I want to just again invite our friends. Please share the broadcast because today we are going to be talking about something that's super important to each and every one of us. Look, we whether you have a significant other, whether you are married, whether you have a boyfriend, whether you got a girlfriend, we all crave something called love.
Mhm.
And this love thing, it can be for good or it can be for worse. Even those who are married, because they are married doesn't mean they got it all together. And we would kind of try to tie this all bow and see exactly how does that contribute to our mental health, or we'll look at all of the positive and the negative, some of the negative and positive, not all of it. And so just kind of stay tight with us, be patient, don't go anywhere, share the broadcast. We will just play a quick song, and when I come back, I promise you, we'll be hitting the road and we'll get this show going. And I've missed this song. I haven't heard it in a long time, so I just want to talk about Sweet Liberia, and we'll go straight on the road.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Love is all we need to make you see. This is the time to come together. Keep Liberia safe forever. So open up your heart and let the unity begin. Love is all we need to make it stand. Let's cultivate one another. Learn to live together as brothers and sisters. Without togetherness, we won't have a peace of mind. Unify and have a peaceful, sweet Liberia. Land of liberty is our home. Keep it standing. This is the one and only home that we have. Sweet Liberia. This land of liberty is our home. Let us keep it standing. It's the one and only home that we have. Oh, sweet life.
All right, friends, welcome back to the broadcast. Today is Mental Health Sunday, and we are going to be looking at something that we all enjoy, we all crave, and we all want to be part of. We want to tie that all together to see how does love and marriage, how do these things actually affect our mental health, and what benefit do they give to our mental health as well. So we'll be looking at some of the good, the bad, and the ugly. So don't get discouraged. If you're not married, don't worry. The show is still about you. If you're married and you're in a bad relationship, show is still about you. So we'll be talking about some of those things today. So Dr. Roberts,
Yeah.
why are we discussing this topic? Why are we talking about this topic today?
Well, most people celebrated Valentine's Day, and for
Oh
those that
man.
dreaded this holiday, right? There are some that love it,
Mhm.
and then there are others that dreaded this holiday. And the funny thing is, as I look on social media, um, I saw all sorts of comments celebrating love, comments hating this holiday, comments shades thrown at married couples, singles, side chicks, you name it. The list goes on, right? But I
Sure.
think relationships greets us with many challenges, and whether it is big or small, we need to be able to discuss some of these challenges that greets us when it comes to relationship.
I mean, speaking of Valentine's, we all have this wonderful blue app called
Mhm.
Facebook. And speaking of Valentine's, I mean, I just saw so many posts like yourself. I saw so many posts. And some of these posts were people who were saying, look at what my man gave me, look at this and look at that. And, sometimes when you look at those posts, you can't help but think. I'll tell you something this. I talked to a friend in Liberia, and she
Uh-huh.
was telling me, she said, Sharif, some of us who don't have boyfriend will die their Valentine's.
I
So what
know.
she said what she was going to do, she was going to buy her own present and then post it on her page.
Yeah, yeah.
Post it on her page because at least
Mhm.
that would give her some kind of comfort to make sure that
Right.
all of the posts from her friends that she was not getting all bombarded with everybody post and getting all jealous about it. But
Mhm.
but let's talk about the good of this. Let's talk about love first. Love, and after love, we'll come to marriage. When we speak of love, what are we talking about? Are we talking about just this fuzzy feeling that we have, or
Mhm.
he's in love, or she's in love and she blushing? What does that really entail when we talk about love? Those four-letter words, powerful letters.
Wow. People, when it comes to love, I know. Whew, people have so many different definitions. Like you say, people describe it as this warm, fuzzy feeling in their belly. Other describe it as knowing that you feel comfortable, you feel safe with this special person. And of course, that sense of belonging, that sense of safety, having fitting in with somebody, or places where you feel like, okay, I'm here and this is for me, it is right, it feels right. So many different textbook definition of love that people get caught up in that. And I always tell people, let's stay away from the textbook, right? What
Yeah.
does love feels like for you when
But
you
Dr.
describe
Roberts, you want to stay away. I would be interrupting you today. I will be so rude today. I'm so sorry. I'm going to apologize right now because this is great.
okay.
But but you talking about forget about the textbook, right?
Mhm.
But also though, I want to ask this question. Do we truly have true love nowadays? Because I always want to take this to the Liberian context. I want to take
Mhm.
this to the Liberian context, and I want to take it in a context where, is there any such thing as true love? Whether it is the movies that actually dilute our thinking, whether it is the Nigerian movies and all of these things that we associate with love. Is there any such thing called such real love? I mean, the reason I'm asking this question,
Mhm.
when I was a little boy in Liberia,
Mhm.
my father, he was a United Nations man. He had 5 women, all from different tribes, and so we had a big house. I
I
always say
like
that.
that. United Nations. I love
It's a
it.
United Nations. We had one Basa, one Mano, one Vi. My mom was Mende, and then there was another lady. I don't know which tribe she was, but I don't know. Yeah, but basically, I think maybe he had 2 Basa women. And so here we have, I never one day saw my dad say, I love you. I never one
Mm.
day saw my dad got on his knees to close, but all of these women got along great in their home. But now today in our Liberian culture, we have this whole the guy has to kneel down, the guy have to say I love you, and all of these different jargon, which is great. I'm not taking anything. We are advancing, we are moving, which is great. But is there any such thing called real love in Liberia, knowing that most relationships in our country, most, not all of it, most relationship in our country now is transactional. You give me
Mm,
something, I give you love. You don't give me something, I don't
mm.
give you love. So is there real love in our Liberian society? Let's talk about that.
Well, that's a great question. If we say love is described as an intense emotion or feeling, right? So
Sure, sure,
that intense emotional feeling of affection. Okay, so do you get that when somebody gave you something? Is that what? Because you are absolutely right. Growing up in Liberia, our parents really did not say, "Oh, I love you." You didn't come and hear mommy or daddy tell each other, "Oh, I love you so much. Oh, I love you." In fact, they really didn't show affection like that because culturally, they
no
don't think it's
PDA.
appropriate. So, and if you even made a mistake and caught your mom and your dad being affectionate and you mention it, what they would tell you, man, you smart, get move from here, man. Sometimes people go all the way out, they're trying frisky to hide that. So now, fast
Sure.
forward today, Sharif, this is a tough one because
I don't want you to answer it because you're about to go to Liberia. I don't want you walking on the street and then people say that woman say we can get real love in Liberia.
well, and again, so I should say yes. I should say yes because I do believe there are people
Sure,
that still exemplify the true essence of what love is, right?
sure,
Now, I will say this though, there are challenges when it comes to loving, especially with a culture that have suffered such a gruesome war in different
sure,
situations. Most of the generation now in Liberia, we joke around, we call them war children. So if you were growing up in that age group of survivor, you didn't have the time to be learning. But here is the difference though. We also did see those action, right? Because love is an action word.
sure.
Okay. So
Mhm.
now and that is why I said let's not focus on the textbook because now our people don't say I love you, but they show it in action.
But Dr. Roberts, let me stop there for a second. It's
Hmm.
showing action, and that was acceptable. That's why I make the example of my father and
Uh-huh.
possibly of your parents as well. That was acceptable. It was not expected that all of these things would be, it was acceptable. They're showing action. Dad gets up, he goes to work, and he bring one bag of rice. The women share it, everybody enjoy. It was
Hmm.
acceptable. But now there are premiums set on those relationships. There are
Hmm.
premiums set on the relationship. Whether you attribute that to the economy of the country, that is one whole different story. But there are premiums set on those relationships, and the reason I'm still pushing this envelope is I hate to bring this back, but we see instances in our country where people have lost their lives simply
Hmm.
because they were loved and then the love dies.
Hmm.
And the tragic one that happened was just what day after Christmas or after Christmas,
Hmm.
the late Princess Rose story,
Yeah, I
where
saw that story.
yeah, apparently in this relationship with this guy, everything was going great. And I don't know the detail of the story, so I don't even want to assume here. But one way or the other, the relationship died, and people were saying because he lost his job, he didn't get money to take care of her, he got
Hmm.
frustrated, she moved on, he did not want her to move on, and he took her life eventually. Was that real love? Was he on one page and she was on another page? Because love has to be a give and take situation. If I
Yeah.
give 50, you give 50. If I give 100%, you give 100%. But if
Hmm.
one person is giving 100% and someone else is giving 25 or even 10%, that person who is putting in 100% will get very resentful very soon. So, I
Exactly.
mean, how do we do we still call this love, or do we just call it transaction?
Well, I want to agree with you and say it's more of transactional, right? And
Mhm.
so let's go back to the definition of love. And if I don't understand the meaning of true love, meaning that deep desire, for me to feel love, for my growth, for me to be free, blossom, just all of these good things. Now, if my love is contingent upon the things that I'm giving you, then that is not love. So, like
I
this
agree.
story, he bought her so many things. He was working and giving her money. He was doing all these things for her. Well, he lost his job. But here is the other twist of the story, though. She was a side chick, right?
Mm.
So this story is so complex for me. It's just not that easy as to love. So if I am your side chick, I'm sorry, tell your wife it's not true. Um, you know, and then most of the time they are promising marriage. I said most of the time because I don't want to generalize, right?
So you're talking about the
The
husband to the side
husband,
chick is
exactly.
promising the side chick, "I'm going to marry you."
Well, this is what I heard, I read in the story. Okay. He
Okay.
apparently left his wife for her and they were supposed to get married. And somewhere down the line, she realized, I don't want this anymore, which is why she ended it. And of course, he got furious. So, whether or not the job situation was his alibi, I don't know. But it goes back again to true love. If you understand what true love is, meaning those that are dating, if somebody does not want you and you still feel and love that person, would you love them at the point where you would take their life?
Hmm. Wow. Wow. That would be if you were asking me a question directly, Doc, I would say that would be selfish, because
Very.
one of the beautiful definition of love is the whole idea of letting somebody to go, right? If
Right.
I love you, I should respect the fact that you don't have that feeling for me, and I should be able to move on. Even if it hurts, I should be able to move on and you move on. And
Exactly.
another beautiful definition is I will want to see you grow. If I
Hmm.
truly love you, I would want to see you grow. I want the very best for you. I want to make sure you grow, you blossom, you become someone that you want to be, and express yourself in that particular growth. But
Hmm.
one of the things that happen, though, especially in our culture, is that most of the times when the women begin to exert freedom, when they
Hmm.
begin to actually express themselves, it
Hmm.
makes us men uncomfortable,
Yeah.
because now we start to think that, well, if the more freedom she has, the more independence she has, the
Hmm.
likelihood that she's going to leave me. So that makes us uncomfortable, and that uncomfortability sometimes leads to some of the actions that we've seen, and that is not love, in my opinion.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Thank you so much. That is definitely not love. That is looking at somebody as a possession, right? So you
Mhm,
are like,
mhm.
you are viewed as an object. So what happens if this object is trying to leave my side? Oh, I will do everything to get it back. But I'm not a possession, I'm not an object. So if you love me and I say I no longer feel the same for you, let me go, set me free, right? Because again, love comes with free will. I should be free to say, oh, I'm no longer in love with you. I have fallen out of love with you. And that's the other piece of it. So we have people who wants to remain in relationships where there is no love and still demand to be treated and still expect to grow and blossom. It's not going to happen. You are not being nurtured in that relationship. You will not grow. You will die.
Simply put, yeah, yeah, and absolutely. And again, I don't want to spend too much time on Liberia as a whole. I know we do the broadcast for Liberia. That is why we make sure it is on the radio station in Liberia. And those in Monrovia who are listening to us, chances are you are listening to us on YouTube, Facebook, or maybe on Freedom FM 87.9. And thank you to the guys in studios. But here's my thing again, Dr. Roberts. We go back to this whole concept. I want us to go to marriage. We'll go to marriage here soon because I want to leave the last 15 minutes of the show for us to really focus on the mental aspect of love and how it affects your mental health and how relationship in general affect our mental health. So let's look at the relationship. Let's forget about marriage for now. Just look at relationship. Boyfriend and girlfriend relationship. You are in this relationship and you truly feel like this person in your mind, he or she is your possession, right? He or she is your possession. And basically, because you have done things for this person, you feel like that person, you are entitled to them. And because of that, it makes it so impossible for that person to truly love you or for you to love that person. And that particular dynamic, I think, especially looking at our culture today, there's a cultural dynamic. I mean, there's a power dynamic. So most of the young girls in our country, in our culture, they have somebody they call Gopa. I don't know if God get pa, but they got somebody called Gopa. And so and so I know, and because of that power dynamic, that man, all he wants from that person, chances are he's not really truly loving them, because if he was loving them, that person would not be the side chick. And so, what message do we send to our young girls, our young brothers, even men? What message do we send to them for them to start looking out for some of the signs that show that, look, this person loves you, that person doesn't love you. This is transaction. This is not a relationship.
Yeah, and the discourse of Godfather, right? In such a culture where, again, is heavy on what the men say and the rights of the man, it is no surprise that this is yet another construct that has been put in place, okay, to support these behaviors. We hear "go mom," but that's only because we were looking for equal rights, right? But it's not the same. So here is the thing I want to say to our young ladies in Liberia, especially. If a man is coming to you and telling you, "Oh, I want to be your godfather," you already know that relationship is sexual. I mean, let's just be fair. Most of the time, they're coming to you and telling you, "Oh, I want you to be my godpa." That godpa comes with benefits, and those benefits is sex. They will buy you gifts here and there, but that is contingent upon you giving the goods. So if you are not looking for that, and there are some people that are comfortable, they want that. So, they market themselves for these men that are married, they market themselves to be, side chicks, and apparently there's a big business out there. So if you market yourself for that and then you are wondering why you cannot get true love, it's a disconnect. I can't surround myself with a bunch of godfathers and then I say, "Oh, but nobody wants to marry me." Nobody is taking me seriously because they look at me as somebody who I can have fun with, right? They look at me as somebody who like good time. And love and easy does not go together. I hear so many people dating, married, courting. When you talk about how is it going, it's not easy. It's not easy because if it was that easy, we will have a handbook. It's like, go to chapter 1. Here is how you love. Go to chapter 2. And It is not easy, right? And so
Mm.
many times people struggle. So if you are struggling, trying to find love, trying to find true love where you feel safe, you feel that intense emotion, you feel like you can grow, you can blossom, you can be yourself without feeling like you are somebody's possession. You can go and come, hang out with your friends, be free. And you know this person still loves you regardless of these things that you can do, but there is also love, there is also respect. So if I'm loving, if I love my spouse, my boyfriend, I know with that comes respect. There are things that I will not be doing that he doesn't like, or vice versa, right? So
Sure.
this whole idea of Godfather, let me just come back to the point. um yeah, if you are entering it, understand you're not just going to look for a relationship and love. You're not serious about dating.
So I think that's a good segue for us to go right into the married relationship, because I want to, like I said, I want to keep some time for us to go into the mental health space of it. Well, let's go into the marriage relationship, because speaking of godfather or godmother and all of these different people on the side, the same individuals that are quote unquote godfathers to some of these single women, those same individuals, they are married. And so
True.
let's talk about the married relationship in general, and let's discuss that a little bit more. What are some of those pieces, or what are some of those criteria that makes a good marriage relationship before we go into the bad ones?
So I think I started by saying respect,
Hmm.
right? um Communication, that's that's key when it comes to marriage. I need to be able to communicate. I need to be able to respect boundaries. We need to be on the same page. So I'm not doing my own thing. My husband is doing his own thing. But when it comes to marriage, we need to be in alignment. What I see and what I think, our goals and all of that should be aligned, meaning together. So many times we come into marriages thinking love is enough. We hear fairy tale stories about love. How many young girls watch Cinderella? Oh, she met the prince. You know, he kissed her. They fell in love. Oh, they got married. I'm not lying to you. I must say, I thought
And
I
they
was.
and they live happily ever after.
Yeah, I just thought that how love was. It's supposed to be easy, but wait, what do you mean that you can get mad at me? No, that's not what I saw on TV. You can't get mad at me like I should be able to do what I want to do. And no, you're just supposed to love me, right? But
Sure.
that's not what it is. So that happily ever after does not exist. That's the first thing, right? And I
Hmm.
know I said Cinderella, but for some reason that concept has penetrated through the third world countries. We all still believe that's just you fall in love and that's it. Marriage is that easy. And then we also bring our past with us in our marriages, right? So,
Mm.
whatever I saw in my home growing up, how my parents love each other, how they care, how I saw father relating to mother, okay? And you have men that will come into relationships to use women, vice versa. Women come to use men. Because look, like we said, transactional, your role is to cook and give me sex. And then as the husband, my role is to bring food on the table. So many marriages in our community, that is what it is. You have no idea how many people, I will never forget this. I had this conversation with somebody years ago, And she said to me, so your husband just let you take vacation like that? Oh, you so, she said to me, you're so rude. I said, what do you mean? She said, you just free like that to just take vacation? And you know, your husband, no, your husband allow you to just take vacations like that? You just all over the place. I said, what? I said, excuse me? I didn't know I was supposed to be caged and controlled because I am married. I said, honey, let me introduce you to what a healthy marriage looks like.
Hmm.
We respect one another, we respect each other's individuality. There is no jealousy when it comes to your marriage. It should be that I'm able to excel in my career, in my education. You should be able to do the same thing. Our finances, which again, we will talk about some of the challenges which most couples struggle when it comes to that area. But you shouldn't be controlling how much I'm spending. I shouldn't have to get paid and come and give you my paycheck or put the money in the account and then come back and ask you, Sharif, can I please take out $200 to go do my hair or do my
Uh-huh. That how you supposed to do it? Oh, that how you supposed to do it? But no, but let me ask you on a serious note. On a serious note, let me ask you.
Mhm.
You talked about the communication, right? Communication being key. You guys are discussing, talking about all of these different things. You want children? I don't want children. You want discipline? I don't want discipline. You're having all of these thoughtful conversation. You want to buy a house? I mean, I just want to rent. I don't want to. So you're
Mhm.
having all of this thoughtful conversation. But let's go back to Liberia because again, when we do the show, most of the time our conversation always go back home. Our
Mhm.
target, our people in Liberia. We have a society that's very masculine, right? It's a
Mhm.
patriarchy society. You have men domineering, and you have all of these different things taking place in the society. And most women, again, I will speak from experience from what I saw my father did, with his wives. Most women, they don't have the voice to, I don't want to call it challenge, but to actually speak out to their
Mhm.
spouses in
Mhm.
that particular culture. What they have been brought up to believe that whatever the man says is the Bible,
Mhm.
is gold. When the man said no, that's no. When the man
Mhm.
said no, why are you cooking 2 cups of rice? You got to cook 1.5 cups of rice. That rice got to last for 5 months. That's it, right? And so, how do we even start that conversation? How do we engage our sisters in Liberia, our mothers in Liberia, or even the men in Liberia to say, look, a healthy relationship is setting boundaries, respecting one another, and making sure that the woman's opinion matter just as much as your opinion matter. It is not because she does not work, she's a domestic partner, and now because you work and you bring the money, that does not give you all of the say in the relationship.
Right. And that goes back to the conversation we started earlier as to women are not possessions. And I want to be very clear on this because you pay diary, it does not mean that that woman will be my property for the rest of my life, right? I think this whole diary payment falls in line with a woman being my property. You quite often hear men saying, "Oh, I pay for you. I get your parents' goat and cow." So is that what my life is worth? So I want to be very clear, and I respect the culture, and I really want to say our culture is beautiful. There are some things that we have within our culture, but let's understand that when it comes to human beings, the Bible mandates how they should be treated. A woman is not a slave. She should not be treated as a child. The Bible specifically said, I will find you a helpmate, not a slave, not a child, somebody who stands with you like this, helps you. So the hierarchy is off. If you are here and I'm here. No, I'm not your helpmate,
Hmm.
right?
That's
If you
right.
are up here and I'm down here, it's more like a apprenticeship guiding me and teaching me on, and that's something different. So let's talk about how we can women advocate. That's that word for ourselves. Now, being a advocate and being assertive does not mean that you're aggressive. Two different things. I can be assertive and say, honey, I don't like the way you talked to me last night, or I don't like the way you cussed me in front of your friends. When your friends came to see you, and I know the food I made was salty, and you just embarrassed me in front of your friends, you know, again, it goes back to the men, because this conversation cannot be just held with the woman. There should be a safe
Hmm.
space.
Sure.
If we talk about an environment that I can grow, think about a plant. What happens when you are growing your little garden? Potato grains, cassava leaf, your pepper. If you leave it in the bush, what will happen? It will not grow healthy. You will not get healthy crops. But if you clean that area, take the dirt away from there, all the grass, the bushes, you cut it like you're going to brush rest farm. When you brush
Mm.
that rest farm and you burn it level, and you go and dig and tore the soil, it ready now for you to sprinkle that rice. I know you didn't know I know about rest farm, but that's okay.
Man, I'm impressed. Wow. I used to grow rice in Buchanan. I mean, in Grand Bassa. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, so you sprinkle that rice, and after a few weeks, it starts to germinate, and you see the beauty of that crop growing. Why can it grow and be so beautiful? And when it's time for that rest to be harvested, you walk there, it smells so nice. The little greens are falling over. Why is that? Because it's a healthy environment for that crop. You wonder why your wife is unhappy? You wonder why she let herself go? You wonder why she does not want to go anywhere with you? You wonder why she doesn't want to have sex with you? Maybe it's because that environment is not healthy. She
So,
is
so, so with that,
suffocating.
you made a very good point here. I want to kind of jump on this. I've heard it from two individuals, right? Two individuals, and two of my friends.
Mhm.
I'm not going to say that name. They're two friends. They're married in Liberia, and the wife had reached out to me and just said, "Look, your brother is doing this and this and this and this. I want you to talk to your brother and this and this and this." And so when we actually started the whole conversation, I reached out to my brother, my friend. I said, "Hey, man, this is what the wife is saying, A, B, and C," and he said, "Oh man, the woman just let herself go."
Mm.
And I'm coming to the point that you're driving at. The woman just let herself go. Every day the woman just in lap out. The woman can't take, I don't know. And so I want to ask you the question, the same way you are talking about being comfortable in this relationship. Maybe there was some things that the guy saw in you that the guy said, man, I really like this particular thing about this woman, and I'm going to reach out to her and we're going to start this relationship. But now, right after the marriage, by the time you say I do, then you start going back the other direction. And
Mhm.
then this brother now too start looking around and say, well, there's another person out there that still wear the mini skirt, that still wear the t-shirt, the spaghetti stripe. Maybe I need to talk to that person.
Mhm.
In as much as I agree that that is not the oath, that is not the vow that you took, but what can our sisters do to make our brothers? We already have wandering eyes. I'm not going to even front about that. We already have these wandering eyes. What can our sisters do to make it a little bit easier on their husbands who are making these excuses?
Yeah, well, love yourself. It's that easy. Love yourself. If you value yourself, you value how you look, you value, again, you know, many times I want to say this. A lot of the times, our women in Liberia, poverty has influenced the way that they take care of themselves. If I'm not given the opportunity to buy something for myself, meaning the money is not even enough to feed the family. Now, it's true, I can take a shower, I can fix myself, but many times what we see in the Western world where people have money to, braid the hair or wear the wigs and weave and all of these things, our people may not have that. But in your weak ways, you can still present yourself. If you have one little skirt and blouse that's decent, fix yourself. It is true that over time, men are visuals. They are physical. They want to be able to see something that looks good to them. So if you are in the house all day and you're wearing that dress that got hole all on it, and that's all you're wearing now, maybe that's for you to clean the house, no problem. I ain't gonna knock you. But when you finish cleaning the house, there should be some days that you should fix yourself up. Go to that friend.
Hmm.
Can you braid my hair for me, please? Wear that one skirt and blouse. Wash it. Wear that slippers. Look good. If you need something to
And
close, ask him for it. If you're not in a
yeah,
capacity to make your own money. But if you are making your own money, spend some on yourself. Don't
yeah.
forget
And
yourself.
again, I got to be very clear here, because that example I gave you is just two individuals. It does not say, women in Liberia, they don't dress, they don't take care of themselves. That's not what we're saying at all. That is
Mhm.
not the truth. But what we're saying is, look, continue to present yourself, because I know right now in Liberia, for example, what I do know for a fact, the married women, that's why sometimes when they get ready, your pastor sister and they had some kind of protest. They said, "Oh, they're going to take that man back. We're going to get our husbands back." They had a
Yeah,
protest that they did last year, and I was just laughing.
I
But
remember.
but the thing is, most of the when you go to Monrovia, I've been there, you've been there. When you get to Monrovia, you see me, the young girls, man, they take care of themselves. These girls
Hmm.
are very, very high, well taken care of. But the,
Hmm.
the crazy thing is, the married women, they are the ones still selling a bit of ball, starting a lapa around the waist, and the young girl, the side chick there, they are the one enjoying. Oh, Dr. Roberts, the side chick, they enjoying. But
So
the
what does
married
that
women,
tell you? Go sell her little widow market and give the money to the husband, and then you go take it and give it to the side chick. That's why she need to keep some for herself. I'm telling you, you're listening to me right
I mean,
now.
look,
Keep that money,
but
keep some of
I mean,
that
I'm
money.
telling you,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not gonna lay you advocate for the married women like bro. We're not gonna do that. But I'm just gonna tell you. I mean, the children. I remember when I was in Liberia in 2023. There was a girl who actually told me that looking good is business, and I like to join her. So I wrote that down. Whatever that meant, I started asking, what does this mean? Because when she first told me looking good is business, the first thing in my mind was, man, is she like a prostitute? I'm sorry, that was the first thing in my mind. I
Mm-hmm.
had never heard the phrase before, looking good is business. So I said, is she like a prostitute? But then the more I went around asking other people, I got to know that, what? When you get money, young girl, you get money and you take care of yourself, you do the braids and you carry yourself well groomed, chances are that picture you're going to post on Facebook, you'll find your owner person. You'll find your Mr. Right. Or that walking around, you might find somebody. So that's the business aspect. But she was not a prostitute at all. Looking good is business. That was the phrase that she gave me. So I got it at that particular point in time. But we are about 13 minutes to end the broadcast. And I want to go into the mental health piece of that.
Mm-hmm.
What is the mental health aspect? How horrible is it for your mental health for you, whether you are the man or you are the woman, to remain in a relationship that is just toxic, that is not a good relationship for you.
Mm. Mhm. So let me start by saying love is a choice. Love is never forced. If you find yourself in a relationship where you are not the center of your husband's attention or your wife's attention, uh, start the conversation, right? Um, what's going
Mm,
on? I noticed that things are different. We are not on the same page. Maybe there are some things that we can discuss. Maybe we can go and seek help. But both parties must be willing to acknowledge and take responsibility for their contributions to their relationship. Quite often, we want to play victims or want to point fingers, right? So, here is that husband who grew up in a family where mom was the perfect mother. She did everything she can out of the way to cook for him, to clean for him, to take care of the family, to keep the house tidy, and then throwing, or it could be that mom who was constantly giving you praises, acknowledging everything
mm,
that you did, and just basically making you feel on top of the world. In the room, you were the only person she saw in that room. Or it could be that father who his princess was everything. Nothing could come before his princess, not even his wife. And not one day did he ever say, "Oh, honey, that was wrong," because he did not want her to feel bad. So she grew up thinking everything about my life is right. So all of these integrated trauma that is now brought into the relationship where if I feel ignored, I start to wonder, you don't love me? That's not what love look like. You don't even tell me, hello. You don't like the what my dad used to do. That's what I'm used to. No man in this world can take my dad's place because my dad loved me. Sometimes women go into relationships believing that there is absolutely nobody on this earth that can love me the way my dad loved me. Well, there might be some truth to that. However, there is somebody who is committed to loving you the way that they know how to love you.
mm,
And you have to give them the opportunity to do that. When you find yourself in a toxic relationship where you are staying, many times people will say, I'm staying because of the children. I'm staying because of what others might say if I leave. I don't want people to judge me. Maybe my church, my pastor, my family. I don't want to be looked at as a failure. If I leave this marriage, people will say that I'm a failure. And so we find ourselves in relationships where we are not happy. And mentally, we are depressed. We have anxiety. We are always stressed. We find it hard to interact with people on a healthy level because if I'm feeling good today and I'm not thinking about my marriage, then I'm in a good mood, then I'm okay. But then tomorrow, what happens if I'm not? So people have to constantly
mm,
walk around us, tipping toeing, because they don't know what version of us they're going to get. And sometimes people see you. Sometimes we isolate, we withdraw from people, from our families, from our friends. Oh, I don't want to be around people because they will know there's something wrong with me. So I just stay away. But what happened, Quita? You used to come around the church. We used to go out. Oh, nothing. I'm so busy. Sometimes people even intentionally take a second job. They keep themselves preoccupied. They know they have learned how to function in that dysfunction. And many times you will not tell. They are unhappy Very, very unhappy. And as much as we talk about the mental piece of it, there is a direct relationship, a direct correlation with the physical. Hypertension,
Hmm.
you can't get your blood pressure down. You are sick and you don't know why you're sick. Stress for women, sometimes stress can feel like you're having a heart attack. You having this whole side getting numb. Your heart feels like it's about to stop or falling out of your chest. It's beating and you can't breathe. You're having panic attacks. Every time you're going home or you think about going home or thinking about interacting with your man, you kind of, your heart rate starts going up. You get scared. You start shaking. You shut down. You get migraines, headaches. You can't sleep. You can't eat, or you're eating too much. You are sleeping too much. And let me say this to the men, stress will affect your ability to function. You will not be able to become aroused at all. You will go completely dead. So it's very important that we have healthy conversations around this. And by no means I advocate for divorce. I will always encourage couples go and seek help. If you have gone to the church, you're going to family members, community members, consider seeking counseling. There are people out there that are trained like myself that is going to be able to help you to navigate through these situations. And look, I don't care to know your business. What am I going to do with it? But my only goal is to help you get the help that you need. If you're in Liberia, Liberia now have, Carter Center. They got places where you can get some counseling. Don't just sit and say, well,
But Dr. Ra, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I know we got 5 minutes here to go, but the point you're making is very, very important. But again, we are in a culture, and I'm talking about Liberia, because everything you're saying, it makes so much sense. Go to see the elders, go and see your family, go and see people, the church leaders to help you. But again, we are in a culture, in a place where sometimes, even when you go to your own family members, they will say, oh, you need to go back to your husband, you need to go back to your wife, you need to go back to your married home. Your own family will send you back to that abusive situation you're coming from. These ladies balance it, because most of these family members are sending you back. Chances are they themselves getting some sort of financial benefit. Maybe the man buying them back a rice on a basis. Maybe he bringing in something. So they're getting something out of that relationship. So you,
mhm.
the poor daughter, you can't, you say, oh, Sharif is so horrible to me. I got to leave that. They would, no, 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 go back. Go back to your husband. How do these ladies balance that particular situation?
So you have to be the advocate for yourself. And I said sometimes we want to stay in there because of our family. And maybe you packed your stuff before and they told you to go back. They don't know what it's like to live in that home. You know. And if somebody comes to you and tell you, and I'm speaking to families, if your family member come to you and tell you that man is beating on me, that man is doing things to me that I don't know, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it, or that man is cheating on me, and the man say you don't want me, do not force that person back into the home. Your role should be, let me see how we can solve this. If they came to you, obviously they're seeking help. So if I come to you and I'm telling you my husband is not treating me right, listen to me and believe me. Believe me, because I'm the one going through it. How can I help? What can we do? Do you feel safe? Before you send me back to the house, do you feel safe? There was a story, I think last year around November in Liberia where the man killed his wife. It was in Bon County. He said he felt like the wife was cheating, going back to feeling that, we are a possession to men that are controlling. The wife was cheating and he told her not to cheat, and the lady said she didn't want him no more. He got upset. So what did he do? He killed her. And he said if he couldn't have her, nobody else could. Now, as the story started to circulate around, it came back that the family member knew about this, and the woman told the family she did not want this man, and it forced her back into the house. What do you say in a situation like that? Because now it's too late. So we must believe people. Don't force them into situations. I know in our culture, we try all our best to make it work, but sometimes the beginning was rocky. Sometimes the foundation was not solid. There are so many reasons why people get married. And so, listen, don't judge. It is not your place to tell them you wrong or you right or whatever. Listen, let them know you believe them. When we come from a non-judgmental place, we want to support, or sometimes we just want to listen and let them know I'm here for you.
Dr. Roberts, we can continue this conversation over and over, but, we have to end it. And I would just talk my own, and I will let you in our broadcast today. To our brothers and sisters everywhere, or anyone who's listening to me, a bad relationship is not a relationship you want to be in. A bad relationship is worse than you being single. I mean, I'm telling you, some people look at being single to be a horrible thing, but you'd rather be single and take a little dry rice and eat it in peace and be happy, eat your gari with sugar in it and be happy, than for you to be in a relationship that when you leave the house and when you're getting back to the house, your heart starts to beat. Oh my God, I got to go back again to meet this woman. I got to go back again and meet this man. And your heart is, your pressure is going up and you are not happy. You live in a home like anyway, you're going this way, he's going that way. It is not what you want. That is not a relationship. And relationship is about mutual respect for one another. I respect you. Me as a man coming to you and asking you and say, sweetheart, what do you think about this particular plan that I'm thinking? That does not take anything away from my manhood. It does not make me weak. It does not make me a chicken. It is me asking your opinion to know exactly, because you and myself, we are in this together. And so, fellows, don't look at your wives, your girlfriend, or your goddaughter, whoever that person is to you. Don't look at it as possession to you. And the whole thing, I've heard this story too many times in Liberia. The whole thing that you guys have in Liberia there, I'm talking to my friends, my brothers, my men in Liberia. That mess you guys have in our country, you guys can be with these young girls or these women, and by the time they decide they don't want you, everything you bought for them, you start asking them to give it back to you. Stop that foolishness. Don't do it. That's a foolishness. You start asking them, give me this back, give me that back, give me this back. All my thing I bought for you, my clothes, give it back to me. That's foolishness. Stop that. If a woman wants to move forward, she's exerting her right to move forward. She has seen something in you clearly that she does not want, and she wants to go away from you. So let us be respectful to our sisters. Let's be respectful to our mothers. Let's be respectful to our nieces, and let us do right by them. Respecting them and doing the right by them does not make you weak. Dr. Roberts, I will end, and I will let you end our broadcast for today, please.
Discussing love and marriage. Let me end by saying love is not easy. If it was that easy, there would be so many people in love, falling in love, and staying in love. But the fascinating thing about love is once we remove and stop pretending this fairy tale love that we expect is happening, once we remove those thoughts from our head, we can roll up our sleeves and put in the work that is needed to make our relationship work. It's not easy. It takes commitment. It takes commitment. It takes loyalty. It takes patience. Do not compare your relationship, your love story, to that of your friend. We all come to our relationships with our own love stories. And many times our love stories are shaped by our past. Take a look at your love story. Did you bring trauma? Did you bring baggage to your relationship? What are you giving your spouse? Is it love or is it chaos? Is it love or is it hurt? Love does not control. Love is not mean. Love is not nasty. Love is not jealous. Love is kind. Love does not envy. Let us allow our women to feel free to grow and blossom in our relationships. Let us not see women as possessions because you went to the parents and you paid diary and the woman doesn't want to be with you anymore, so you have the right to kill her. That's not love. Or you have the right to beat on her. That's not love. And for those women that are out there thinking they must stay with the godfathers of the world, the godpa, because that's the best they can do, learn to love yourself. That godpa saw something in you that he's chasing, and it's not what between your legs. If it is what between your legs, close it up, pack it up, and find somebody who loves you from head to toe. All of this. I hope that this live today will encourage somebody to change the way that they view love and marriage. And if you find yourself in a toxic relationship, a toxic marriage, I want you to learn to love you first. Understand what love means. Try to communicate how you feel and what you should be feeling when it comes to love. Seek help. And if it is unsafe, absolutely, you don't have to remain in that marriage. Your life is important. Thank you for joining as always, and I will see you all next month.